So there's this video that just completely blew up online. It shows a hiker just sitting motionless on a rock, staring into nothing, while his friends are trying to figure out what is going on. What they didn't know, and what we're about to unpack, is that he had just seen something that completely shattered his reality on Indonesia's infamous Mount Gede.
And this is it. This is the moment from the video, the aftermath of pure terror. You can hear his friends in the background, totally confused, asking what did he see? And that single question, right there, is the key to this whole unbelievably creepy story.
So the hiker's name is Hamdan, and in this breakdown, we're going to walk you through his personal account of what actually happened up there. It's a story that starts with some weird omens and just builds and builds to a climax that finally explains that chilling video. You know, this whole thing was supposed to be this amazing adventure for Hamdan. It was actually his very first time hiking a mountain, and he went with 3 of his friends back in May. But pretty much from the get-go, things just felt off. It all started with a pretty simple mistake, really. They got lost just trying to get to the trailhead. So what was supposed to be a 4 a.m. start turned into a 6:30 a.m. start. Yeah, it was frustrating, but, stuff like that happens. It seemed totally normal at the time. Little did they know the mountain had something else in store for them. So the weirdness started to ramp up, and fast. Around 10 in the morning, Hamdan sees this black shadow just dart past him. He yells out, thinking it's his friend, but his friend was actually walking behind him. Then later that afternoon, he's off getting water, and a figure in white just materializes like 10 feet away, and then poof, it's gone. By evening, it wasn't just things he was seeing. He was the only one in the group to hear a woman clear her throat like she was standing right next to him. And that strangeness just kept rolling right into the night as they set up their camp at a spot called Kendang Badak. This is where things get really interesting, because a single careless comment is about to have a very real and very dangerous consequence. So in Indonesian folklore, there's this concept called sampral. It's basically a warning against being reckless with your words, especially in a powerful place like a mountain. Hamdan was getting annoyed because his friend Ursan was kind of laughing off his ghost stories, so he jokingly warned him about the knife he was using. Literally seconds later, that exact same knife, which Ursan had just called dull, slices his hand wide open. It was this chilling, immediate proof that their words had weight up there. Later that night, Hamdan's whole sense of reality just started to unravel. He wakes up, checks his phone, it's 3 a.m., time to get going for the summit. He wakes up his friends, they kind of groan and go back to sleep. A little while later, he wakes up again because of noise from another group. He checks his phone, and it's only midnight. He was absolutely certain he'd already woken up at 3 a.m. His own timeline was becoming completely warped. Okay, so the next day, after making it to the summit, the group starts heading back down. And this is where all those strange little events build to the terrifying moment that ended up in that viral video. On the way down, Hamdan got a little ahead of his friends, just trying to get back to base. And then, all of a sudden, his world just flips upside down. The bright, sunny afternoon felt like pitch black night, but only to him. At the exact same time, a huge swarm of big flies starts following him, buzzing like crazy, even though there was no smell of anything dead or decaying around. He stops for a second, waiting for his friends to catch up. And in this strange, personal darkness that only he could see, he looks up, and he realizes he's not alone. There's someone else on the path with him. Now, his brain immediately tries to make sense of it. Okay, it just looks like a local, maybe a villager who knows these trails, just wearing a regular t-shirt. The figure was standing perfectly still with its back to him. Hamdan's just watching, trying to figure out what's going on. And then, very slowly, the figure turns around to face him. I'm just going to use his own words here because they're just chilling. He said the person's face was gone. Not like it was messed up or hidden, it was just empty. A smooth, hollow void where a face should have been. And that's the image that just completely broke him. But here is the most critical part of this whole story. The disconnect. See, in Hamdan's mind, he screamed his head off and ran for his life. But in reality, that's not what happened at all. When his friends finally caught up to him, the sun was shining, everything was normal, and Hamdan was just sitting silently on a rock, completely catatonic. That's the moment they took out their phone and started recording. So they managed to snap him out of it, and a shaken Hamdan keeps heading down the mountain. The group is all back together, But their ordeal? Oh, it was far from over. In fact, all the paranormal stuff was about to hit its peak, and it all centered around a place called Telaga Biru, or the Blue Lake. As they were taking a break, Hamdan's friend Ompe heard this disembodied female voice whisper a really creepy instruction. Gather. Gather later at the Blue Lake. He thought it was Hamdan and asked him what he said, but Hamdan hadn't said a thing. It felt like something was actually summoning them to that spot. When they actually got to the Blue Lake, it was just a total sensory assault. Hamdan felt like he was being crushed by an invisible crowd. He couldn't breathe. The smell was overpowering, a mix of super strong incense and rot. He got so violently sick, he threw up everything in his system. It wasn't until they physically passed that area that this incredible sense of relief washed over him. After they finally made it off that mountain, the group started to talk, to piece together everything they had all experienced. And it became pretty clear pretty fast that Hamdan was not the only one who had witnessed these things. And this, right here, is what makes this whole story so compelling. Yeah, Hamdan had the most extreme encounters, but he wasn't alone in this. His friend Ompai? He also saw the white and black figures. All of them heard phantom laughter at the camp. On the final descent, they all saw mysterious lights that looked like other campsites, only to watch them vanish. Their stories backed each other up, pointing to some kind of shared, terrifying experience. So, it leaves us with this really unsettling question. Was this a genuine paranormal event? Was it a series of shared hallucinations brought on by extreme exhaustion and fear? Or something else we can't even begin to explain? Hamdan's story is a chilling reminder that when you're pushed to the very edge of your endurance, the line between our world and another can get terrifyingly thin.